Well, thank you very much. This is a real joy for me to be back at Oklahoma City University. This is my alma mater. I feel very much like I've come home. So good evening to all of you, and I know that certainly this is an exciting time in the life of Oklahoma City University. President Himmel, you'll appreciate that last week one of our professors canceled class so they could come attend your inauguration. So that was a real joy for all of us down there at law school. So we really appreciated that aspect of your inauguration, to say the very least. Well, like I said, this is an exciting time at Oklahoma City University, but truly it also, for many of us, is a time of nostalgia. As these moments often are, a sense of excitement for the future, mixed with this complexity of the difficulty of saying farewell. But with a great sense of pride and accomplishments. You see, I've known John throughout his entire career at Oklahoma City University. In fact, John and I are fraternity brothers. And my senior year, the leadership of our fraternity was preparing to welcome the new executive committee into office. We were preparing for the fact that Kamal Pennington, who was the president, and that was a mistake to allow Kamal to be president. Well, we knew that in all seriousness that he would probably run for student body president and even worse, win. And we wanted to make sure that we had a plan in place should he run. Now, a lot of us were a little worried about who the next leader in our fraternity would be. And so there were a lot of older guys who were concerned, but I wasn't. I knew exactly who that next leader would be. You see, I learned really quickly that the best leaders are those who generally resist it, who don't recognize it in themselves, because their humility prevents them from seeing that possibility. John Riesenberg was already being considered to be the vice president of the fraternity on purpose. And at that meeting, I turned towards John, and I said to him, "Are you ready?" Now, the look of absolute fear on his face, I'll admit, even made me a little worried about the fact that John might become president of our fraternity. But you see, I had seen John simply, well, be John. John was a varsity member of the Corps, getting up at ridiculously early hours of the morning with several other members, and they worked incredibly hard together to not only become better athletes and compete, but I noticed something about him and the way the other crew members treated John. They respected him. They trusted him. In our fraternity alone, John had an incredible sense of giving, a great sense of service. You see, for a while, John never took on the big position, if you will. He always took on that less sought-after role of being the person in the background who was actually making things work. He wanted to give. And so that's what he did. His whole career, in fact, has been filled with giving to others, whether that was traveling to Peru on a mission trip to help those in need or teaching children how to row at the Chesapeake Boathouse. John has consistently given himself. John didn't need a title. He didn't need to be vice president of this or president of that to be a leader. It was simply in his spirit, in his soul. It was in his nature to give. Now, it's these kinds of things that make me look at John and ask, are you ready? And John, I hope tonight that your look of fear has turned into a look of accomplishment and well-deserved pride. I know that for those of us who are gathered here tonight to honor you, we feel that way. As president of the Student Government Association, you have reminded students that this institution, the core of this university and its mission, is about the students. Reminding them that it's about you, the student. Your leadership has led to a complete streamlining of the organizational appropriation process, making it easier for your direct stakeholders to receive the services they need from student government. Your innovation has led to events like the Taste of the Town, where community restaurants have had an opportunity to be a part of the student life at this university. You have led in the academic needs of our students as well, creating a 24-hour study space for students so they can feel safe and secure, complementing the academic integrity that this university strives to uphold. You have reached out to students through Weber Studies, creative public relations strategies, in doing what many have described as a stringent, difficult economic times in our country, especially for institutions of higher education. You have led the student government to take a cut in its resources for the upcoming year, seeing it as an opportunity to become more creative, more efficient, and more innovative. And as I understand it, up until your very last day, you have guaranteed that the student voice, the economic engine of this institution, is engaged in the budget process where priority decisions are made about the core functions of this institution. Yeah, wipe the look of fear off your face, John. You've done it. You know, John said to me, Jeff, I didn't do all of these things. So many different people were involved. Great leaders always say that. Great leaders in times of success, John Collins' book teaches us, look out the window and they see all the people who made that happen. In times of great struggle, they look in the mirror themselves. John, because you have looked in the mirror, it is now time for you to look out the window. I couldn't be more proud to call you a friend, more proud to call you a brother, more proud to call you a leader. Friends, will you join me in not only welcoming, but in honoring the President of the Student Government Association, John Andrew Riesenberg.
Justin would never let me use the gavel, so now that it's my last opportunity, I'll tap a little bit. Thanks, Jeff. As you guys know, Jeff's a really great speaker, and to tell you the truth, the only time I've ever seen Jeff speechless is when he turned to me and said, so Kamal's looking at running for student body president, and you think that you should run to be president of the fraternity. Are you ready? And I said, absolutely not. And then he just kind of got a blank look on his face. It's something I'd never seen before. But Jeff, I appreciate this. I appreciate you speaking today. People will often ask me where I get my leadership style from. And what I always tell them is I try to surround myself with people who have traits that are better than myself. And I really feel like following the footsteps of Jeff Riles, following the footsteps of Paul Pennington, I've been able to do that. I've learned from Jeff this idea of creating this vision for student government, what you can unite people with. And Jeff was really great at that. Jeff was also great at asking those right questions that needed to be asked. He just knew how to work things. Kamal, I've never seen anyone run a meeting like Kamal Pennington. We would go into a meeting and Kamal would say something and all the people would say, I don't get it, I'm scared, I don't think it's a good idea. And he'd say, okay, and we'd talk about it for a while. And at the end of the meeting, Kamal would say the exact same thing, except this time everybody thought it was their idea. And so they're like, yeah, let's do that. Kamal's also great. I just see the way that Kamal, the room brightens up whenever he walks in. Something that both of these people have told me, and something I've really tried to take to heart this year, is it's not about you, it's about your team. They always talk about the team, the importance of the team. So I want to take a second just to thank all those people that were part of my team. And first and foremost at the top, my first thing is, of course, my family and my girlfriend, Jessie. They've had to put up with so much this year, so much of me having to leave dinner and lunch early to go run off to a meeting, or just having to listen to me talk about things. And whether they were interested or not, they always at least pretended they were. I'd also like to thank my vice presidents and the Chief Justice, Justin, Leah, and Zane. Justin, I've really enjoyed getting to work with you. Justin is one of the people who, his values and his morals, they're non-negotiable. And I've seen how he works with other people. And he has no problem saying, I don't think this is right, and this is why. And I think that's something that's so inherent and needed in a leader. Leah, I've seen how you you are the perfect example of developing that team. And you can see how all of the great records we broke in student activities and everything we did is because of you and because of that team. You got the right people in the right positions and let them go. And Zane, I've really enjoyed getting able to work with you. I just love how I've seen you try to learn about how something works, and again, asking the questions. Funny story, a few hours ago, I gave a proclamation for Love Not Hate Day. And I text Justin, Leah, and Zane, and I said, I've got this proclamation on my desk. If you guys could sign it before 5 o'clock today, that'd be really great. Justin gave me a hard time, Leah gave me a hard time, and I just said, okay. And of course, Zane, the law student, was the only one who was like, wait, what does it say? What do I say? I'd also like to thank my exec, but I'd really call my advisors. Everyone has their own little job, but I don't think there's anything we do in the Student Government Association that I don't at least bounce this off of them. And usually the idea, if I come up with an idea, it's usually completely changed by the end, and it's so much better. Ryan Schwartzman, I think he's the only one that's carrying on here. Where are you, Ryan? Ryan was the executive assistant, and I've seen him just diligently working what he does. And he's learned and he's grown, and I see so much more potential in so many things you're going to do in the future. I've seen what a great leader you've become, and what a great leader you're going to be. Caleb, dog. I always felt comfortable with you over the finances. I came in and I really did not know what I was doing in this sense. But Kayla was there, and I knew that if she was over it, that it was going to be okay. And she took the reins with that, and she not only did just what she had to, but she worked to make it better. Everything Jeff said with the streamlined appropriations, that was all Kayla. Jared couldn't make it tonight. Jared and I had a really interesting start. He actually, whenever we were running, when I was running for president, Jared was the campaign manager of my opponent. But the thing is, I saw how great he was and what he did, and all his potential. And so I asked him to be part of the team, and he even surprised me after that. He's always the person I come to bounce ideas with. He's always got great ideas, great input. I couldn't have done it without him. And Kirsten, I think it was a year ago at Inauguration where you came up and said, I'd like to be on exec, I'd like to be your PR person, and I was so happy, I was so enthralled. And you've done such a great job. I knew you were going to do such a great job in the future. And I know you've saved me countless times from saying some really stupid things that I always thought were funny, but I guess most people wouldn't think they were. So I don't know. Finally, Cameron. I have worked in an executive position with Cameron Bell since 2008. Since December of 2008. And I don't think I could have asked for a better chief of staff. Cameron, you've done such a great job. I've seen you grow so much. I've seen before when you just used to do the job. Now you're leading people to do the job. I was talking with Chris Masella yesterday, and I was saying that it seems like everything I'm not good at is Cameron's strength. And then we started to think, well, I don't think Cameron's bad at anything. So I guess that doesn't really work there. And Cameron, you've also become one of my greatest friends. I'm so happy that you're staying in Oklahoma City. I've been fighting for Cameron to stay here forever, and I'm so glad, not just because I know what great things he's going to do, but because I just enjoy being here. And finally, I'd like to thank the administrators, the administrators who helped us on our team, and specifically Rick Hall, Liz Donnelly, John Riggs, and Dee LaLusa. Rick and Liz couldn't be here tonight, but they have found ways to challenge me, and they've taught all of us how to lead with questions and not necessarily lead with answers. And they've treated me so much like an adult, not just a student, but really someone who has an opinion to bring to the table. And that's what's so great about the Student Government Association and its interaction with these people. I've gotten in arguments with them. We have to apologize afterwards, but it's just the way that it works. We know at the end of the day, we both are going towards the same goal, and I've learned so much. John, I've enjoyed all the times when I've just been able to come and sit by your office and just ask you what's on your mind. You always have great things to say. You are a great father, and you do great things. And I'd love to hear your advice and just sit and get your perspective on things. And Finally, D. At the end of last year, Kamal told me that D. Lanusa is going to be your most valuable asset. D. Lanusa is really what makes student government work. She's the one that's really, she's coming up with the ideas, she's behind the scenes, she's doing all these things, and she doesn't want any credit for it. She just wants it to go well. And I don't think that Dee really gets enough credit or enough thank yous for all that she does. But Dee, we couldn't have done anything we did without you. And even if it's just sitting in your office and blowing off steam, we thank you for everything. And finally, Mr. President and Dr. Jan Henry, I've enjoyed so much getting to know the both of you. When Kamal told me at the end of last year why, he said, we picked this new person to be president, and he explained why, and I automatically felt at ease. You guys have been mentors, and you guys have been parents. You've been so nice to myself, and so nice to all student government. I remember coming back at the beginning of the year, coming in with my list of demands, or my list of things that we wanted to work on, and sitting there for just 3 hours and going over half of this list with President Henry. And the funny thing is those things happen because I can say this is what the students have said they wanted. We got this data, and they said they wanted, and it happened, just simply like that. So a lot of people will come up and will ask the question, in this last year when I was able to say I'm student body president, and say, okay, well, what exactly do you do? And that's such a difficult question to answer. What do we do with student government? What do we do as president? Eventually I came where I had two different answers. I can give you the institutional constitution definition of we allocate money for the students. We sit on committees, we pass legislation, I sign legislation, we put on events. But really, there's the plain and simple answer of we're here to serve the students. We're here to be that student voice, to speak up if something goes wrong, or to speak about something that we hadn't thought of before. We're here to make sure to ensure that that student experience is better than it would be if we were not here. And I really feel like we've done that. Jeff said them better than I will. But I'm just going to go through and I'm going to explain some things we've done. We've broken records in sacraments. We've had more people free movie night, midnight breakfast, concert on the quad than we ever did before. We've heard hundreds and hundreds of traffic tickets. A great service that's been given to the students. We've allocated just under $60,000 to around 50 different student organizations. That's their money, but that's really money that they wouldn't have had otherwise. And we've been able to do that. We passed resolutions on bullying whenever it was a major issue. It still continues to be a major issue. We streamlined appropriations to allow the student organizations to get their money quicker and easier. We combined the student government retreat with the OCU freshman leads retreat. We took it to a better place. We feel it was less expensive, which was great. And also what we really try to do is show those future OCU leaders that you have this position in student government, that here's something you can do. We brought local vendors onto campus to kind of show OCU students, here's what OCU has to offer, here's what Oklahoma City has to offer, and to show that these outside vendors that we've got this whole mass market of students here at OCU, and to use it. We helped keep the student service fee low. And in doing so, we ensured that the student voice would be continued to be heard during this entirety of the budget process. I don't know if I can stress how important this was. It's really that thing that we don't mind if the fees go up, but as long as we have a say in what's going on, and that's something that we've ensured is going to happen for the next years to come. We created athletic surveys to survey our coaches, to survey our programs, to ensure that we don't just have good, mediocre athletic teams. We have the best. And we have the best programs. We have the best facilities. We have the best athletics. And finally, we created a strategic plan because we don't want this next administration to recreate the wheel. We want to say, here's where we left off. Here's where you guys can take over. Do what you want. Take what you want. It's your administration. But here's the outline if you want to use it. And we think that we can go from there to really great places. So these things are great. But what I've always said is the real benefits of being in student government aren't going to come until long after we're out of office. Because what it does is allows us students really to learn. And we've learned so much. We've learned to work together. We consolidated to basically what we call the 5 C's. We've learned to cooperate. We've learned to respect each other. And realize that even though we're arguing, we're all working towards a common goal. We've learned to contemplate, to be open-minded, to bring ideas to the table, to argue about those ideas, and to let every voice be heard. We've learned how to communicate and to be able to ask for help. We've learned that you need to say what you mean, you need to mean what you say. All of these extremely important. We've learned consideration, to think about those others you're working with. How important is it to show up on time? How important is it to be diligent in what you're doing? And we've learned to care, that everything here we're doing matters about having this good attitude, about being diligent, about being honest, about having zeal and enthusiasm for what you do. So, in doing this, I thought, okay, I'd like to end this with giving a little bit of, seeing if I can give some advice to pass on to Emma and the rest of the next student government administration. And there's so many things I want to say, but I really just want to consolidate it into these 2 things. First is to learn. Use this as an opportunity to learn as much as you can. Just like Rick Hall always says, you've got to lead with questions and not answers. Learn about your job, learn about your position, and learn about how this university works. These benefits aren't just going to come now, they're going to come later. And finally, people are your best assets. People are the reason you do this. Learn not just to work with people, but they're the reason you're here. And I want to say this again, that sometimes it's going to get tough, and sometimes you're going to get stressed out. But I encourage you at this time to maybe take a second, leave the office, go walk around Dallas, go walk around campus, say hi to everybody, start talking to them, and you're really going to come back. And I assure you that when you come back, your batteries are going to be recharged because you're going to know by day in and day out you do the job you do. So finally, to end this, I've been feeling really nostalgic a lot lately. I've been feeling kind of sad. People have been asking, "Oh, you're excited to be done with office?" I said, "Yeah, but this is what we've done for a year. This has become my family. This has become the people that I've learned to love, and the people that I've learned to work with so well." And in doing this, yesterday I asked Cameron, I said, "Cameron, aren't you sad that this is finally going to be over?" And he actually gave me a Dr. Seuss quote, which I'm going to end with today. He said, "Don't cry because it's over. Simply smile because it happened." Thank you guys for everything you've done. And Emma, you're going to do a great job with the rest of this administration. Thank you.